Hi, welcome to Forgotten Legends of Sound. Today we are doing a recent kind of favorite album of mine. This is a band, they're called Fair to Midland. They're from Texas. And yeah, I think they're phenomenal. They're one of those bands that I had heard about for many years, but the name I was just kind of like, I was kind of just, I don't know, there just wasn't enough to like pull me into them, at the time. And then about 4 years ago, one of my coworkers, he knew I liked a lot of prog rock, prog metal stuff. So he was like, "Hey, one of my friends listens to a band called Fair to Midland. Have you heard them?" And I was like, "I've heard them, but I haven't really listened to them." So then he told me to check them out, and so I went through the album before this, Fables from a Mayfly, and there were some things I liked about it, but it wasn't enough to pull me into the band. But then I remember responding to him. I was kind of like, "Yeah, it's like pretty cool, and I think that sometimes with a lot of music, sometimes you have to listen to. There's stuff you'll get into right away, but then there's some stuff that it's like the second or third lesson when you're like, okay, this is actually really cool, where it starts kind of getting you. Anyways, so fast forward a year after that, I was listening to that Radical Research podcast with those two guys.
And wasn't one named Hunter or something?
Yeah, Hunter Ginn, and I don't know why I can never remember the other guy's name.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
it'll come to me. Yeah. For some reason, and I think the other guy is like he's the one that worked more for like music magazines and stuff. So I think that dude is like should be a more well-known name or something, But I just for some reason I can't remember it. Anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, they were doing an episode on Gincore music, which is that Hunter Ginn guy, like bands like Mars Volta, Fair to Midland, Dredge, all these bands that had prog rock elements with this sort of alternative rock sound. And they were playing little snippets of this album. And it was track 11 that they played a clip. And I was kind of like, oh, I remember these guys. And I was like, man, that just sounds pretty cool. So then I listened to them a little more. And I was like, yeah, these guys are worth getting. So I picked up their stuff. And I'm glad I did because some of their stuff is like a little bit harder to find now, And I was just kind of like, it was one of those like on a whim. I was like, yeah, they're pretty cool. I should just pick this up while I can, But I wasn't expecting this band to grow into like a favorite band of mine. So anyway, so the last year or so, I've been listening to this album a lot, and I've been listening to even just recently in the last like week or two, I've been listening more to that Fables album. And I think this album's phenomenal. They've got an awesome sound. The lyrics are all really interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot to say, but I'm excited to just jump into this album. I think it's sick. So
Right. Yeah, I don't have much to add. I have heard this album probably around 3 or 4 times or so I'm fairly familiar. Most of the songs that come up, I'll be like, oh yeah, right, I do like, you mentioned that they do a lot of kind of fairy tale wordplay type of lyrics and everything, and that's kind of cool, but I think like my initial reaction was like, I don't know, like a lot of like the 2000s rock or hard rock or even like hardcore type elements I couldn't really get into. And so I thought this band was going to be like kind of a twist on that sound or something, and so I was like, I don't know, but then like I think some of those, maybe those Gin elements or some moments that reminded me of like Mew or Kent or some of those moments of the album, I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's some of the more melodic parts, then it kind of got me in, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But I'm looking forward to going through this, especially with the lyrics, because I haven't gone through it with the lyrics, So yeah, I'm kind of curious on like, I don't know how I'm gonna rate this album, but I guess we'll just find out, So
yeah, I think I know how I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna rate it really high,
like all of our stuff.
Like all of our
rate
stuff,
really high.
It's just what we do around here, So yeah, this is Arrows and Anchors. Came out in 2011 from Fair to Midland. It was their last album. I think more people need to know this band, and I waited for way too long to get into them, but I'm glad I finally did. And yeah, I hope that this gets other people either into the band or people that already are into them. Like, yeah, man, people need to talk about this band more. People need to, because man, they're just really underrated.
And definitely like, support the artists, buy the albums, where you can and everything, And we are going to rank each song between a 1 and a 10. 1 is like we hate it, 10 is like masterpiece. So yeah, let's just jump into it.
Alrighty, so here's we're gonna track 1 and 2 together. Track 1 is kind of an intro piece. It's called Heaven to Murgatroyd, and then the first song is Whiskey and Ritalin. So yeah, here we go. Here's Arrows and Anchors. They've got like a guitarist, bassist, keyboardist, singer, and a drummer. So it's like a 5-man band. And I think I read somewhere that all of them like contribute to the music and stuff, whereas the singer dude does like the lyrics and stuff. So I do like that. It seems like everybody's kind of just like contributing a lot to their sound. Like you hear really cool guitar riffs with cool little piano parts in the chorus. The vocals are awesome. Like the drumming's good, the bass, like everybody is just so like well together on that song, and it's just, I don't know, it's pretty dope. I think I'm gonna give that song a 10. I think it introduces the album really well. It's really catchy, and I kind of like how I like that it really rocks. You know, I like that it's just a good riff, and it reminds me a little bit of like when Porcupine Tree will do a song where it's just like a really good like meaty kind of riff or something like Shallow.
Right.
Sometimes you just want like this blend of alt rock with prog rock, because sometimes prog rock could get a little bit like so ambitious that it's kind of just like very noodly and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I like that they still
it's soft like Marillion, whatever. It's more softer prog rock, so you don't get a whole lot of riffing.
Yeah, you're not head banging
right.
as much. Yeah. And I like that these guys have enough, I guess, grit or heaviness to like headbang. And but at the same time, it's not just simple alt rock, I guess. Not that all alt rock is simple, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna give it a 9.5. Yeah, this is a song that I remembered, and it's one that I would play in rotation. It's one I guess like I look forward to, in the album. There's a few other ones I look forward to as well, but I do remember something about their sound does remind me of Voyager a bit. Maybe it's their approach and everything, especially with the keyboards and stuff being put in there as sort of like an aesthetic thing or like a background atmosphere feel, not really like a lead instrument, but just to provide that sound,
Fuller sound, yeah.
But I do like the booklet scene, like everybody like just like jamming. I like booklets and CDs and whatever where you just see the band members just jamming out or whatever, it's always cool.
Like that Cryptic Writings
right, Cryptic
Megadeth,
Writings, it's just seeing like a picture of someone on drums or whatever, like it's pretty cool. But I don't have much to add. I do think the chorus is catchy. The bridge is good, right before the chorus and everything. And just I don't have much gripes with it.
Yeah.
The only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10, I guess, is just
not a lot of like personal association with the sound.
Not a lot.
Not enough time for it to really.
Yeah, for me to be like, and it's just I don't know if like this genre or I don't know is like something that's like I'm not going to be head over heels for it. You know what I mean? Not like but it's still really good and really enjoyable. You know. So.
Yeah, true. You ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that you probably like prog metal more than me and I like prog rock more than you, or no? Or is it that too hard?
I don't know. It just depends, like
on the band.
Yeah, because I mean I know I like prog metal more, but like for you, that's something you got to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
I don't know what you like more. I mean, because I know you like Circus Maximus, and like I would push Riverside more so in the prog metal versus the prog rock. Yeah. But they're kind of both. I think Porcupine Tree is a little bit more the prog rock, but like and then Riverside is inverse.
There are some prog rock bands that you listen more than I do, like Spock's Beard and IQ and stuff too. Right. So yeah, I was just curious if that was something that we There's not really an answer.
I mean,
we like both genres a lot.
Yeah, because I think we generally listen to more prog metal bands. We've got a lot more than we do prog rock bands. So whether you like prog rock more, like these bands more than those bands, that's up to you.
Yeah, true. I think one thing that is kind of interesting is like we got into prog through prog metal. Like we didn't listen to like Genesis and freaking
like King Crimson.
We didn't listen to that when we were younger. We didn't grow up on it. We knew Pink Floyd. We had a greatest hits Pink Floyd and a greatest hits of Rush, but that was probably it for prog rock. Yeah. So it's Kansas too. Yeah. So in a way, it's kind of prog rock is something that was kind of just an extension of prog metal. Although, I'm not saying that prog metal helped us get into prog rock.
Right.
But I think maybe just the circumstances, like prog metal was just kind of our jam,
I feel like...
How did we get into prog metal anyways? Because I know how we got into power metal. I have this I remember exactly how power metal, melodic death metal, all that came about in like ninth grade or so.
I do think like Dream Theater was one of the early bands, but I don't.
Yeah.
It could have been something where certain bands or certain albums were like heralded and stuff.
Yeah.
I do know it's because like when I got into Queensryche, I didn't get through it through this prog metal I got through it because 80s like metal album that's so important and stuff like that. Like I remember picking up the Queensryche Greatest Hits first before I ever and
had
so
an album,
I thought Queensryche was more along the lines of like if someone was like, oh yeah, 80s band, I'd be like, oh yeah, Def Leppard and Queensryche and Whitesnake, like they're in the same genre or something. It wasn't until like later when I got older I was like, oh yeah, I mean sound and everything, it's not, it doesn't quite fit with those guys, So I think
back then we just didn't know enough bands to make an accurate comparison.
Exactly.
I think
things wigging out.
This thing is retarded. But I think that I think because we just looked and read up online for so much metal stuff in general that people kept on mentioning these famous albums and bands.
Right.
But I remember the that media player thing that we listened to Sonata Arctia Stradivarius for the first time, that had Shadow Gallery on there, and Symphony X and stuff. So I do remember it being kind of around the same time. I think you were pushing it maybe a little bit more. I think you were kind of checking it out more before I was. But
also when we were visiting websites and like downloading their free content on their websites, like that's how we were checking out like Manticora, Brainstorm, Falconer. We had a burn disc of Symphony X because on their website they had like two songs from all their albums at the time. So that was so cool. So the burn disc had like 10 songs or something like that, and maybe it was 8 songs. Because I know the Odyssey was out, but Paradise Lost wasn't out. Because we got into them around 2004, somewhere in that range.
And I don't remember. I don't think it had anything from the first 2 albums, if I remember. I thought it was just Divine.
It did, because Edge of Forever was on there.
Really?
Yeah, Edge of Forever was on there.
Didn't have the first album, at least, right?
Yeah, they didn't have the first album on there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, although was there Masquerade or Absinthe and Root? No, I don't remember. Yeah.
But I remember they did have Smoke and Mirrors and Church of the Machine as the 2 from that one, and that was pretty cool.
Evolution, Communion, and Oracle were on there.
Yeah. And then what was it? Wasn't it Awakenings and
I think Awakenings and
Inferno, Unleashed the
and
Fire,
then
or whatever.
Divine Wings was like what Of Sin and Shadows, and maybe the Accolade.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because there were a lot of those like kind of longer songs on there.
Yeah, there were. Not the 20-minute ones, but but that was kind of cool. Anyways, just a side tangent. I do like going back and seeing how we got into stuff, because how people get into music and what their path takes, I think really develops their sound and their tastes and whatnot. So I like hearing how other people got into music, and I like hearing, this wasn't big where I live, but this was, and that's why I'm more prone to enjoying this kind of stuff. I think that's always kind of cool.
I guess that's one reason why, like, Fair to Midland is like a band that I don't think I'll ever like be my favorite band or anything.
Yeah.
But it's a band that like there's a genre of these kinds of bands that like I feel like Fair to Midland is like kind of like this outer approach into the genre. So I feel like I'm getting into the genre in a weird way when I was supposed to get into some of these other bands, and then like Fair to Midland would be there, but we always take roundabout ways sometimes to get into stuff. I don't know why.
Yeah. So, I don't know why either.
Yeah.
You ready for the next track?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here is Musical Chairs. Dope. These tracks like lead into each other, so I'm like, I'm waiting for like
I'm gonna give that one a 9. I think it's a solid follow up. It does feel like a track 2 in terms of placement for the album. It keeps what they started with. Well, track 3, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Besides the intro, track 2 kind of continuing the momentum. I think the chorus is better in the the previous song, you know. But like, there's nothing wrong with this song. It's a little bit more preferential on my take, but I like that they started with the piano. I like that little, you know, little. I can't remember how the piano. Yeah, you know, I like adding in little things like that, you know. And so yeah. Another solid song though, like both tracks are good. So
yeah. That one I kind of want to read just a little bit of the lyrics for the camera people. I like that they use these sort of like either like biblical references or references like Three Blind Mice, like whatever kind of references, and it's just kind of fun.
Lady in a Boot or whatever.
Yeah, like you know, it's like like
what is that crap. What is that?
Nursery
like
rhyme
Aesop's
stuff.
fables.
Yeah, they just they have these cool little phrases like
Mother Goose.
The Mother Goose and crap. You know, like he says, I could be kicking the bucket, but you should know I never had very good aim. You know, like that's kind of funny. You know, it's just and the same thing with you know, if I worship the ground that he walks on, like someone that's like very Christ-like or something. And it winds up that he has 2 left feet, you know? Like, will we be walking on water? Because, you know, we never like to get our feet wet, you know? So there's this idea of, like, you know, what if I'm, like, idolizing someone or something, and then it finds out that they're not, like, even if this person is promising to walk on water, I don't really want to swim, or I don't want to get my feet wet, you know? Like, I don't know. It's kind of a fun, I don't know, way to, like, kind of, I guess, express ideas in a sort of like comedic kind of way, you know, like without being outright like funny, you know, but it's kind of just a little like it makes you smirk. Or
I don't think these guys like are take themselves like super seriously with their lyrics, you know. I don't think it's a lot of their lyrics don't come across as like down or depressing. And it's very
kind of fun. I don't know, like
whimsical. I think
whimsical. You know. I don't know. That's just kind of cool. I give that song a 10. I like it. That song was kind of giving me chills because I love how it's like chill during the talking part and you got the bass kind of driving or whatever. And the whole, the wild goose chase is all mine is right. You know, his high voice just goes into the chorus so freaking good. And I don't know. It's just such an awesome song. And everybody comes together at the end with the guitars and the keyboard dude doing stuff. And yeah, I like that song. I think that one's awesome too. Should we move on to Uh-Oh?
Yeah.
All right, here is Uh-Oh. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn.
This one I'm giving either an 8.5 or a 9. The Uh-Oh part is the part I don't care as much for. It's still good and catchy, you know, but it's not as compelling to me. I think the chorus though is really good. I like how he's using kind of a more of a harder voice during the first part, and then it kind of softer. The fruits of our labors are laid out to rot, you know. And I like the talking part. I like the lyrics. I think I'm gonna go 8.5 on this one. Still a great song, but it doesn't hit me like those first two do.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a 6. Just above average for me. The chorus wasn't doing much for me. It felt a little bit like Mars Volta type stuff, but it just didn't really draw me in. So I don't know. It's just same with the talking part. Like I don't know. I'm not really sure what I wanted more out of this song, except that what was there just didn't do much for me.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know.
Kind of a step down from the first two.
Yeah. I like the first two a lot more. That's for sure. Like this one, like I'll still enjoy it in the context of the album, you know, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's fine, but it's not one that I'd go to, kind of thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I would ever like go to it, just put it on a playlist or anything either. Right. But when I go through it, I still enjoy it every time I listen to it. You know, like it never feels like a slog or anything to get through.
Right.
But yeah. Should we move on to Amarillo Sleeps on My Pillow?
Yeah.
All right, this is that janky one where they've got sounds like a banjo or something, or I don't know. Whoop. Looks like this thing. What do you think of this one?
I'm gonna give this one a 7.5. I was kind of getting some Farmer Boy vibes from this song. Shout out to Werner, you know. I actually this song was probably my favorite in terms of the drums. I like the talking part a lot. I like that's just like. You know what I mean? It helps out with the groove of that section. The chorus was still pretty good, you know. A little bit straightforward, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But like the talking part with the drum grooving, like I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I modified my score on I moved it down to 7.5. I think sometimes when I'm listening to it here and I'm all excited and whatnot, I feel
everything's
like
a 10.
I'm just enjoying it and whatnot, that it clouds like my judgment. So that's why sometimes I have to look back and see comparatively sometimes to see where things settle. I think this one's an 8.5. It's a great song, and I do think most of it is that verse section that is just really good, and I like the chorus. I like how there's different kinds of choruses on this album. There's these anthemic kind of ones, and then this one's like
not as sing-alongy.
Yeah, not as sing-alongy. It's a little bit more heavier in a chorus, you know. We were like mentioning bands like Godsmack and stuff where they've got this kind of heavy, you know. Yeah. And then, you know, it has that vibe. No one looked for the t-shirts. No one yelled for the great collapse.
Almost like a Papa Roach thing too.
Like something like all the bands that took the Pantera sound and then made it more commercialized or something.
Right.
I don't know. It had that vibe for me, and I'm not saying that to like dog on it or anything. I like some of that music, even though some of it is kind of boring. You know, get up, get up, yeah, you know, like every now and then I like listening to that stuff, but it's not like my creme de la creme of music stuff.
I think it definitely relies a lot on like the groove. Yeah, like a very like groovy kind of stuff, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But
should we move on to a loophole in limbo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Here's a loophole.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one an 8.5. I want to share a little bit of a gripe that I have sometimes with music. I like this song. I don't know if I like it more than, you know, musical chairs, but one gripe that I have with music is when I feel like the guitars and the bass player are out of sync with the drummer. You know what I mean? Where the guitars will and then the drum is just like, all right, 2 and 4, duh. When there's certain albums or certain songs that are recorded where I feel like the drummer is just kind of running through the motions. You know what I mean? Just kind of keeping time,
basic
whatever.
Or something.
Yeah, but I like the chorus because I feel like the drummer is really in sync with the guitar player.
Does he do like a tom roll in that chorus? Like no, not in the chorus. In the
I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention as much. I know things were a little like quieter. There was some there was some quieter section during the talking part, but I just know that with him going while the guitar's like you know, at that part too with the cymbals, the 3 hits, I'm like, yeah, you guys are together making this happen, you know.
Gives it more impact too.
I just, you know, and I don't know this band like super well, but like sometimes when you hear enough music, you know when like a band is in sync or when they're not, and then like it's like you only ever listen to the guitar player or you only ever listen to this band member, and then everyone else is just kind of whatever. You know what I mean? Like when we went through Third Eye Blind, like I love that self-titled Third Eye Blind album because they're a very in sync band. There's times when I'm like, dude, the bass player and the drummer, they're, you know, because they're the lower end, you know what I mean? If you look at an orchestra, you've got your music, your strings and everything, but then you've got your lower brass end or whatever, and it's like your lower end has to be together on some things, you know? If everyone's like conflicting or the drummer's doing something and the bassist...
Then it's
like,
avant-garde music.
Yeah. well, it's just that... I mean, you can do that and everything if you're going against, you know...
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, talking about classical music, I mean... You can't have like a good melody or punch to something if everyone's doing their own thing. Like there's got to be structure.
Yeah.
If you have this na 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 na, you know, then you could float around. But everybody's got a fudging da na na right there. If some person and some artsy person is like, oh no, we're all going to do all this little stuff and whatnot. It's like it's not going to have that punch unless everybody's doing it. You know?
Yeah. It's the small details that make music great that people don't really pay attention to, but it's like there's things going on in the background too. It's like building a house, you know. Your song is like a house, and if your fortification or your foundation is not sound and everything, then it's just it ain't a house. No,
It ain't a
no.
house,
I mean,
you
you
know?
can still have a song, but it's just it's the little things that help it become a great
song. Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, so we gave 9.5, 8.5. Did I even say this song?
Yeah, you didn't talk much about it, but
it. I like it. I think it's pretty freaking dope. It's like a good house, you know. It's like built right.
Yeah.
no, but like I gave it 9.5. I don't know. There's something about, and you see this commonly in music where the verse is going to be like more quieter and that way the chorus heavier, is like and they do that a lot, and it's like it's a formula that people use because it works. It works so well. But then all the subtle things that you do is what you could make the song different. Just because it's structured similarly to other kinds of music, you know, the melodies and whatnot and stuff makes it, I don't know. I think that song's dope because I'm looking at all the previous songs and they all kind of follow that sort of format.
Right.
Even Camelot does that similar kind of format.
Beast in Black that we did last time.
Beast in Black, like it's just common to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything. I love the way these guys do it, you know? I think it's dope. You ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
So this next, it's like an interlude. It's called Typhoid Mary Sends Her Best. So we're going to do that tied with Short Haired Tornado. So we're going to just do those tracks together. So here we go. That's how you do it, man. Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks.
Bleep, that's all, folks. But Porky Pig?
Yeah. I think this is yours to start.
I think I'm gonna give it a 9. I think maybe I do like Whiskey and Ritalin more. I do like this song though. It is solid. It is, it's probably in my top 3 or top 5. There's another song down the road that I'm looking forward to, you know. But I like how different this song is, you know.
Copper Tank Island.
I don't know. I don't have much to add, but the lyrics are pretty fun though. You know, it is a pretty fun song. So
yeah. I'm giving it a 10. Just an awesome song. And with the Mew comparisons, like that chorus sounds like something. If you had a day, it sounds like something Mew would be because it sounds kind of sing-songy and kind of, I guess, pure and sweet sounding or whatever.
Sure.
But then the rest of the song is like freaking rocking out and just like, I don't know. I like that contrast with it. That melody is so freaking beautiful, and I don't know. It's just a really good song. Not much to say.
Not much to add.
It's just a fun freaking song. When I first heard the song, I was just like listening to it constantly, you know.
Right.
And then I showed it to my mom, and I was like, "Dude, check out this freaking song." And she was like, "That was different," you know. She understood why I was like hooked on it with that chorus. But, anyways, kind of cool. You ready for Golden Parachutes?
Yeah.
My mom, our mom, you know.
Oh yeah, we got the same mom.
Yeah. All right, here is Golden Parachutes, and this is the song that they played like a snippet of. That I was kind of like, okay, I need to check these guys. Yeah, on that podcast, I was like, I need to check this.
I think it's your turn, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I did Ricky Tiggy, right?
I think I'm giving that one either a 9 or a 9.5. It's it's probably the most simple song on the album, you know? Yeah. It's pretty straightforward, but it has like a great heavenly chorus. We were talking during the song that it reminds us of Devin Townsend because it has this Zen, you know, kind of vibe to it. I think it's a great song. I think I'm going to give it a 9. Really good track. Yeah,
I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think this song, the problem with this song is it's just a bit bland. The talking part and the chorus part didn't really do much for me, so just a little bit above average. Like aesthetically and everything, it sounds good, but there's just not much for me to latch onto to be all like really like interested in. So it's I don't dislike it as much as but like it's just a little bit above I would say. Yeah. Not bad at all, man. Not bad. I'm leaning between an 8 and an 8.5. Excuse me. Let's go with an 8, unless you can convince me otherwise.
I'm gonna convince you as like a 7. You know,
I like this song. I like what they're going for. I like the keyboard parts and everything, and I like the chorus. Like I just like the direction of this song, where it goes and stuff. You know. And I like the outro part of the chorus, you know, with them just going, you know, it's a pretty solid song. Not bad.
I give it a 9. I do think it has this somberish vibe and whatnot, and I like how it kind of keeps building and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like at first the drums almost have a swing vibe, but it's like the music's more somberish, and then the guitar kind of comes, you know, and then it's like, and then he's just like, "Tech is your best defense," and it's just I don't know, it's just like I don't know, it's really cool. I give it a 9. I kind of like it similar to the one before. The other one before is like simpler and catchier, but this song I think has a little bit more depth to it. And I do like that keyboard going on. It's like a good old, you know, Jens Johansson, you know, soloing part during the chorus. You know, no.
When are they gonna break out?
They don't break out, man. Guitar solo, yeah. Great song.
Yeah, they don't really do guitar solos or anything.
Yeah, not very often.
Not really. Yeah.
I think there was like only one so far on this album.
But it was one of those guitar solos where it's like...
Yeah. It's like
you know, one of those.
Like, you know, not like a...
Yeah.
You know,
there's like...
metal and...
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready for Copper Tank Island?
Yeah.
And this is one that I think is one of your favorites.
Busy bees and... Is it your turn?
I think so. I'm giving that one a 10. It's so much freaking fun. It's kind of like Riggy Ticky, where I just love it. It's just fun and it's so catchy. And I like how they use the effect on his voice during that whole like verse section. You know, just an awesome song with cool lyrics too. There's this line that I liked where. You know, people say like, you know, oh, here's my 2 cents or whatever, you know. I like this line is like, remember this, it's just 2 cents. 2 cents never made you rich, you know. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
That's rich.
That's rich, yo. 2 cents. What do you give it, bro?
I'm going to give it a 9.5. I do think this is like probably my second favorite song on the album. This song, I like the drive that it has. I'm really glad that chorus section, I'm glad that they don't go like, I'm away, I'm away. Yeah, they didn't. It's just like I'm away, I'm away, and keep going. Just short, concise. You know, don't prolong it. You know, not to say that the song doesn't slow down or anything, but it's just that so many times there's like I think like bands will write like a chorus and then they'll try and like put it up to you know these heights
like
that are all like
that
it's
drawing it
out,
makes
out
it more epic, it just makes it more sluggish.
Exactly. And then I'm just like, you know, because like you've created a drive with that whole ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? And you know, if they change that, you know, and then it just, I wouldn't like that juxtaposition. So I'm glad that they didn't do that, you know. And just, it's only 3 minutes and like 13 seconds song. It's concise. I like it. So
yeah, dope. So this next one is just kind of like a short instrumental. It's like 2.5 minutes or so. So we're just gonna play that, and then I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot to talk about, but I didn't want to do it with the next song because the next song is kind of its own thing.
You know,
rocking out with like Daniel Estrin right there.
Yeah. It's definitely got a 90s vibe.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a whole lot we could even say about that one, but
it's just kind of there.
It's just kind of
there. It is what it is.
Should we move on to the Greener Grass?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, this is like the epic of the album. So here we go.
Least favorite. I'm probably gonna give it a 5. It was just average for me. A lot of the choruses and sections and the slowdowns and everything. It's not really anything that they hadn't done in other songs or whatever. So it just the song felt a little bit like filler to me, you know.
And the 8.5 length didn't help it.
Didn't help it. Yeah, the outro didn't do much. You know, it's just an average song for me. You know, it's not like I hated it. It's not like but it's like, you know, mind being distracted, and you know, I think like I wanted a better like closer. You know, so
yeah. I think it's one of the weaker songs for me as well. But this song did kind of grow on me. Like sometimes parts of it would just kind of get stuck in my head. I'm leaning between a 7.5 and an 8 for it. I don't know, just just to even things out, we'll do an 8. Oh man, Forgotten Legends of Bias. Am I right?
Well, maybe I'll do like a 4.5.
I don't know.
No,
yeah, just
no.
just a little. Okay, I'll go to 7.5. Okay. No, but like, there's times when I think this is like my least favorite song, but then there's other times when I listen to it, I'm like, man, this is a great song. So it's kind of like a harder one, I think, to rate sometimes because depending on my mood, I really like it,
Sure.
But, yeah, I'll do 7.5, it's kind of on par with Uh-Oh. Uh-Oh is a little bit more, it's half the length and, but I don't know, maybe Uh-Oh, I'll raise Up-Oh to an 8. I don't know. No, let's just leave it. It's not the end of the world. You ready for the bonus track?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here's Pour the Coal to Her. Riddle me this. Do I go first? I think I go.
Yeah, you go first.
I'm giving that one an 8. I really like that song. I think it's a cool way to kind of end the album, and it's funny because it kind of ends it on more of a somber note, like compared to the
everything makes
album.
you sad. No, I'm playing.
It seems a little more. I don't know, like, it just seems more like there's a more sound of like concern or something with that song. But anyways, pretty cool song. I give it an 8.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7. I do like the chorus. You know, the talking part doesn't do too much for me. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, the chorus is pretty nice. Every time he goes, riddle me this. You know, it's it's definitely an above average song, but it's just good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
the most 8 out of 10.
G-O-O-D.
It's the most 8 out of 10 song.
Yeah.
On this. I'm just gonna add the scores. Do you want to just share kind of your thoughts on the album as a whole?
Yeah, my thoughts on the album. Yeah, I do like how varied the album is. It might be a little bit too long. I feel like if you shaved off like 1 or 2 songs, it'd be a little more compact for me. But I do like what they've done here on this album. You know,
11, 12.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what my final score is going to be. Ian will figure that out here pretty soon. But like, you know, like if like I was one of the members of this band, like I would be proud of this effort. You know what I mean? Proud of this album and like what they're able to put together and everything. I do think some of the lyrics, like I wanted more like jokes isn't the right word, but like some of the lyrics were a little bit lost on me. Like I didn't know what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
But
just saying things that just kind of sounded cool or
it would have been cool to have a little bit more whimsy, a little bit more, I don't know, things that like, haha, there you go. You know, something like that. But, you know, all in all, though, pretty solid album. Like, definitely, you know, worth checking out, you know. Yeah, not much more to add, though.
6.5. Well, you got to add a little more.
Yeah. While you do your number stuff.
A little bit more. Oh, Dead Space. I don't know. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do? I don't know.
Done.
People are going to turn off the video because of Dead Space. They'll be like, oh, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
You know?
So I have the scores here for this album. So I gave it the highest score. I gave it a 9.08. Kevin gave it the lower score. He gave it a score of 7.83. So let's find out what the general score is. Plus 9.08. Cliffhanger.
Yeah, do some of the averages.
2. So the score we gave it was 8.455. 0.45. Well, 8.45.
Right.
Yeah. I guess I'll just close it out, just share my thoughts. I really like the lyrics. I think they're pretty fun, and I think that they're just really well written. I like that they're different. They're not like typical lyrics that I see in songs and stuff. I think even though sometimes I don't know exactly what the song's meaning is, I still kind of feel like it adds something to this album. Like it gives it this, I don't know, it gives it a cool vibe or whatever. I think this album in some ways, I don't think even some of the songs are even meant to be like understood. I think they're just meant to just be obscure and kind of fun or something like that, you know? But yeah, I like this album a lot. I think everybody does a great job. There's a lot of ideas in it, and I like that the songs all differ from each other to some degree. They still sound like Fair to Midland, but they change the songs up enough that I'm never just sitting there thinking like, oh man, you know, we keep doing the same thing, you know, like, but anyways, yeah, I just think it's a great album. Was there something
they do have a cool, like, kind of musical identity, you know what I mean? The band does have kind of a cool identity, you know?
Yeah,
so
they're pretty,
that's for sure.
They're pretty unique sounding, you know? I know a lot of times when we do videos, we like to say like, oh, this part reminds me of this, or this part reminds me of that.
Right.
We don't say that just to act like, to slight any band and say that they're derivative. Because if that's your view, then like almost all music would be derivative of everything else or whatever. But we just say that because it's fun to like kind of compare sounds together and be like, this reminds me of this or whatever, you know. So even bands that are completely original, we love just being like, this sounds closer to this vibe or this sound or whatever. So I think it's just that high fidelity, you know, kind of like nerding out, kind of categorizing things and whatnot. That's just very fun for music people to do. But yeah, I think this band is really original. I think that they didn't get, I think, as much attention that I feel like their ideas and musicianship should have awarded them. But you know, that's okay. I mean, you know, not every single band is going to become the next, you know, big name band. But I'm just glad that they even made the music that they did, because then people like us and people out there can really enjoy this kind of stuff. And so I just think it's real commendable.
That's why we made this channel, because there was a lot of bands that we wanted to talk about that not a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why we called ourselves Forgotten Legends of Sound, because we don't want these bands to be forgotten. We don't want them to be just kind of cast off and just like, oh, well, whatever.
And we also just, some of these bands, we just felt like they deserve so much more online presence or whatnot. Because, I mean, this is like a gripe with other music channels and stuff. A lot of times they're just following the clout. They know what's popular. They know what people want to watch. They know what the public in general is interested in, So a lot of times music channels will cover bands that are quote unquote relevant in the efforts to just reach more people. And we didn't care about reaching more people. We just wanted to reach the people that are sick of hearing about the same conversations, bands.
I'm sick of it.
I mean, I really hated it. But it was just like, and I'm not even like deriding
like
those
popular
stuff. I love popular music, and I'm glad that music people are sharing stuff that is popular with other people. That's not the issue. The issue is that I wish that there's more music that I found that I love. I wish that more and more people were able to hear it, and that's my issue.
I like Nightwish, great band, but if I see one more Ghost Love Score reaction like that video, wild.
So it's just kind of, and we're not saying that to even like dog on any of those people. If they enjoy it,
if they enjoy it,
good for them. But it's like
very
we're so tired.
Like, do your thing,
like whatever. But it's just like when we see the same stuff getting churned out over and over again, we're like, when we made this, we're like, dude, I want people to freaking react to this obscure band, or I want to hear people
get into stuff.
Like their genuine reaction, not just some flowery, excited, I mean, granted, we're sometimes excited about stuff, but that's because we're genuinely excited. We're not doing it so that people will like watch our channel more, But I mean, anyways, I guess long story short,
we're not a reaction channel. Like, we're more of like a review and analysis kind of like, that's how I view it, because we don't like, oh, I don't know this, let me see what I think of it and share my thoughts. Like, we're picking stuff that we already know.
So anyways, but thanks for watching, I guess, or listening to this. I hope that we're able to just show a bunch of cool artists that you find and you're like, dude, this is some dope music, because we think it's pretty dope. So anyways, we're Forgotten Legends of Sound, and I think I've said everything, right? Yeah. Cool. Have a good night.